Welcome back everybody. We've got this Vitus, I'm not sure, Vitus mountain bike in the stand today. So we've got a bit of a list on this one. So we've got brakes that are not working, top up the sealant, top up the air on the fork, dropper's not working, chain's worn out, chop some off the handlebars, a couple of rusty bolts he wants replacing, and some new grips. So plenty to get stuck into on this one. Let's get going. So customer's just bought this for his young lad, I think he's 13, 14, really nice bike actually, very nice. Overall in very good condition, just that list I've read out, just enough minor issues to add up to being not quite right, so that's what we're going to look at today. Like I say, overall condition, paintwork wise, it's very clean, it's pretty damn good. Brakes are pretty atrocious, gears kind of work, chain's worn out. This clutch needs servicing as well, so we'll also cover that. The main issue is this SRAM rake down here, so that's not working very well. It's nowhere near centered, so these pistons down here are all the way out one side and doing nothing on the other side, so that'll be looked at. So he's asked for about 50mm chopped off this bar and some new grips at the same time. The dropper levers fell off, and even when it's not fell off, it doesn't really work very well. It does kind of work, but I think we'll put a new inner cable in there at the least. Bit of play in this headset, but nothing too horrendous, so we'll tighten that. Just some cosmetic bits as well. These bolts here, he wants these tidying up, so I've got some new fresh stem bolts for this. I'll have a look, see if I've got anything on this, but they're a different size. I might have something. And this one in here is a bit corroded as well. So it's really just tidying it up, making it as good as possible for the young lad. So it's a very nice bike for a youngster, I've got to say that. And some very nice wheels on it as well. So sun ringles, set up tubeless, very nice setup. So no real issues down there apart from just adding some more sealant to the tyres. All right, let's get stuck in. Get some gloves on. I don't really need gloves for this. It's nice and clean actually. Come with this film in this one. It's nice and colourful rather than the matte black stuff that we always see. So I like a bit of colour on the channel. So right, let's get the big bits off. Wheels out first. We're not stripping this all the way down to the bare frame, but enough to get to the bits that need doing, especially that brake. So I'll just show you this clutch before I take that out. So this is clutch off, nice and smooth. Drop the clutch on and it's very stiff and jerky, so that needs lubricating. It should be super smooth. I can feel that just notching on each bit of the clutch. So we'll take this out, put some fresh grease in the clutch inside. I'll show you how to do that one. Oh, drop this wheel out. Drop of grease on those won't hurt either. Sounds a little bit noisy, that doesn't that? Actually, they feel rough as. Okay, let's get new wheel bearings as well. Add that to the list. Wow. So if you look at this rear caliper, pistons on this side almost completely extended, and these are completely inside. So this caliper obviously needs to go way over there. We'll put some new pads in, clean them all up, clean up these pistons as well, and get it running. The lever itself feels okay. You know, we can't leave it like that. It's not doing anything there. Right, let's drop this front wheel out and see if that's any better than the back one. I feel okay on the bike, but well, I feel terrible in the hand. That feels a lot better. I'll pull the end caps off and see what the actual bearings feel like, but it feels pretty good. But the back one, oh dear. Alright, let's just quickly drop this headset while we're down here, get some grease in there. Make sure there's nothing bad in there, but it feels okay. Just a little bit on the loose side. I'm not sure this is what Park invented this stool for, but there you go. That's what I use it for. I can drop the headset now. There's an aluminium steerer on this. It looks like someone chewed it off. Makes me a little nervous when I see things like that, because that kind of says that the rest of the bike could be a bit DIY'd and not quite as good as it looks in the flesh. We'll see. Hey, if I was a 14-year-old lad, I'd be pretty impressed with this. That's for sure. No idea how old this bike is, if anyone got any ideas. I could get the dates off the Shimano components, but I'm not sure what's original. Rough tap. Yeah, these bearings look great. One bearing feels very nice. A little bit damp in here, so we'll clean them up, put some fresh grease in, but feels very good. And on this one, I struggle to get this out without taking the fork completely out. Sorry, Park stool. There's the lower bearing. Not quite so good on the lower one. I'm going to see if I've got one. If not, I can get one ordered. It takes 2 minutes just to drop it in later, off camera. I have many bearings, but generally speaking, I've got everything except the one that you need. 20-30 different ones in stock normally, but that's not brilliant, that one. And I guess while we're in there, we may as well change them both. They're not particularly expensive, these, so I think the guy just wants it to be 100% for his lad, which is fine. Let me see what I've got. That was an easy one. I've got these, so get some grease in there, clean these cups up, put these in, put this to bed. It's a semi-integrated headset, this, so worst case scenario, you can actually just change the entire headset rather than the integrated bearings in the carbon frame that you normally see, where it is just the bearings. Clean this race up as well. So there's a split race on these, so they just pull straight off. Let's get some grease in here. It's finish line grease now. You might have seen my last video. I made a decision. We're sticking with this. I'm waiting for Finish Line to get in contact with me. Offer me every product under the sun. Big fan of Finish Line stuff, honestly. Really good stuff. Extra bit of grease in here. Drop this compression on. Put this on. One big space up. Clean your grease off. And throw your stem back on. Right, he's asked me if I've got anything to replace these rusty bolts with, so I'll put it back in for now and I'll have a look later. Take your stool out of the way now. Thank you, stool. Doing a great job. Right, let's just get this done. Out there. Beautiful. I'm going to tighten them off centre just to remind me to torque them when it's on the ground and get it level. Clean this grease off. Right, headset done. Let's look at this rear brake first. Pull these pads, there's a little clip on here. There's the pads. Jesus. So if you look at that pad there, look, it's a massive step on the top. So this space has not been set up properly either. And the same on the other one. It's got a massive step on it, so you're basically only using sort of 2/3 of the pad. This top bit brand new. So there's some issue around here with this spacing. So I'll have a look at that, make sure we've got a sort of full sweep of the rotor when we get these back in, because you can't leave it like that, that's just hopeless. Now you see why I had my suspicions when I saw that steerer tube, that things were not quite as good as they looked, and that's the sort of thing you're going to end up finding. Alright, so we're going to clean these pistons now while we've got access to them, push these back in and try and pop these out a bit, because these don't look like they've moved for a long time now. Get them cleaned up. I just had a very nice bike dropped off, Enigma Titanium. It's going for a bit of a conversion from Campag to Ultegra Di2. With some nice shiny wheels and other bits. It's going to be a pretty interesting video, hopefully. I know a lot of people will be upset by the Campag coming off, but there you go. I'm just going to open up the lever bleed port slightly in case there's any excess fluid in there. I'm not going to take it out, I'm just going to open it up in case there's any excess in there, because like I say, I don't know who's been on this before. We don't know the maintenance history of this bike at all. It's just bought it used. So you can presume potentially someone may have overfilled this, and when we push these pistons back in, it's going to cause you issues. So just crack it out. If there is any excess in there, it'll just bleed itself through. But keep an eye on it, because you don't want dot brake fluid dripping down here for the next half an hour. This is SRAM's tool that basically you put that in there, wind this down, and it spreads the, quite a nice tool. Stupidly expensive for what it is. And I've seen one at AliExpress now for, I think, a fifth of the price. It looks identical. Right, so they're just winding in. Lovely. It's all good. So I've just been for a quick coffee, and in the meantime, while I was having that coffee, I just 3D printed these service bleed blocks. So you have a cutout here, which basically allows you to push this in here, and it will just push out one piston at a time. Really, and you need 2 of them so you can mirror it, so you can cover all 4 pistons. So drop that in there, pump the lever, and it'll just pop one piston out as far as it will go, and it will stop on this block. You won't be able to see because I'm just pumping that lever now. Right, that's stopped, and that's released this first piston almost fully out. So you just clean that up now with some cotton bud, make sure it's nice and clean. You can put some red grease on there if you want, but they're actually moving really, really nicely. So just clean the edge of these, make sure there's nothing on them. So just degreaser on here, and just repeat on all 4 pistons until you're happy that they are shiny. Push that one back in. Lovely. And then replace the block into a different orientation and repeat on all 4. I find this cush core tie lever actually really, really good for this, pushing pistons back in. On ceramic pistons, you've got to be super careful, but these are fine. Alright, so that's all prepped up and ready for new pads. Guess who's run out of pads? Never mind, they'll be here tomorrow. There's plenty more stuff we can carry on with. When we do get them, we'll drop them in, put the wheel back in, and work out why that rotor's not actually lining up with the disc. There's spaces and stuff here we can play with. I'll put a bleed block in here for now anyway, just so we don't squeeze the lever. So this is a full block. We don't want even one of the pistons coming out while we're leaving it on the stand like this. Drop this pin through, keep it in place. Honestly guys, you wouldn't believe how difficult it is to try and keep on top of your stock levels. One day I'll get there. Alright, next. Let's get this rear mech off. I say we're changing the chain as well, so this can also come off just now. Get this off. So with that chain off, we can get a much better feel for this bottom bracket now, and that feels absolutely beautiful. There's no float side to side, and it's super smooth. I'm touching that one then. The action on the gear lever is very slightly heavy really, for what it should be on these, so I'm going to change it inner while we're here. It's a minimal cost, so as part of the service we'll bang a new cable in there. We'll split the jockey wheels out and clean them up. There's a bit of stuff stuck in here, but they actually feel really good. There's no real slop on them, so they're okay. And we'll do the clutch while it's off as well. So to get the gear inner cable out, you just need to pop this little plastic cap out here. It's just on a 1/4 turn screw basically. That's all it is, tiny little thing. And then it'll just push through there like that. So easy on Shimano. While you've got that out, you just get a drop of lube in here. And then just work it through its positions. No cable in it. Such a lovely action on these Shimano shifters, really nice. So positive. I guess the only downside, you can only downshift 1 gear at a time. You can go up 2 or 3. You can only go 1 at a time coming down the block there. To flush this outer cable with some lube as well while it's here. Just get your nozzle on there, squeeze it, your finger and thumb over it, seal it-ish, and you'll see it coming out the other end of the bike. That's jetting out the other side of the cable now. Just be mindful when you're doing this, so you're not spraying this all over your brake caliper down there. Easily done. And cap back on there. There's no corrosion on this cable at all, it's actually in really good condition. And this just drops straight through there now. Like that. Doesn't get any easier than that. Pull it all the way through, and back through there, all the way through. That feels lovely and smooth, that does. Any resistance here, you're going to need to change your outers, but this feels beautiful. Apart from at the end, I can feel some massive resistance there, and I'll show you what that is. So it's coming from this end cap on the rear derailleur. It's got a big bend in it here, so we're just going to pull it off. So there's basically a big bend in there, and that's where that resistance was coming from. So we'll fit a metal one there, upgrade it. We'll chop off 10mm of this outer. Just a little bit tatty. That's part of my glove, that's not the cable. So you've got loads of slack here to pull another 10 through. Before you cut that off, pull that inner through because it's currently sitting right about here. Just cut to a clean piece. Like I say, there's loads of spare at the front, so we're okay. Open that back up again. And that cable will come flying out. Beautiful. Look at that. Woohoo! So I'm fitting a metal end cap to that one, but just make sure it fits in the rear derailleur because sometimes they don't. That one's going to be fine. We'll settle that on when we put the wheel back in. We'll basically force the lever forward, and that will just make sure that seat's all the way on. Jockey wheels off. Ease, that's tight. How tight that is, that's bending the Allen key. Crikey. I know, snug them up, but it's probably a bit excessive. Keep them together for now. There you go, it's not part of the derailleur. Just a quick clean. I don't think it needs an ultrasonic or anything drastic. Just clean them up. No production code in this. There's normally a sticker on here that gives you a production code. I can't find it. Just blow that through some compressed air and that should be as good as new. So the production code is normally here. The SC, it's not that one because this derailleur came out in around about 2015, I believe. So it's not S because that's 2000. There's another one here, it's K. That's 2012, I believe, so it's not that one either. So I'm struggling to give you an exact age of the bike. Let's say around about 2015, so it's around about 10 years old. So nice bike there. It's normally stamped in very, very clearly, but it must have fell off over the years. Well, let's get them jockey wheels back in, and then we'll just do this clutch quickly. Can't find my Loctite right in front of me. So G pulley is the top. We all know this one, don't we? So it says guide pulley. It's directional. Get some Loctite on this bolt. Drop that in. The direction is the direction the chain will go through the derailleur, so it's that way. And just drop this back in. I'm pretty sure this Loctite is going to last forever. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's very expensive in a tube like this, but wow, literally I can't see me ever using that in 100 years. Tighten these up until your Allen key starts bending. Get them nice and snug. You don't want your jockey wheels falling out. Trust me, I've had it happen. I was about 12, I think, in some school ride, and I was winning. My jockey wheel fell out, I was like gutted. Never forget that. Oh, that's good. Let's get this clutch cover off now. 3 screws here. Clutch is currently off with that lever in that position. So there's the clutch in there. There's a metal clamp basically grips this with the clutch on or off. You can, I don't know if you can see, but it closes that down and tightens it. And then when that does that, this unit here spins inside it, and that's the bit that needs greasing. Take that off. It's a bit easy to show you. That'll just continually rotate like that. So we just pull this off now, basically it'll just come off as one unit like this. No tools required. Just remember the orientation when you do take it off, because there's a cam in here. It's quite easy to get this 180 out. You know when you put it on, but it just makes life a bit easier when you put it together. And there's a shorter tab on here, so that goes on the bottom as well. So just remember which way it came off, like that. You'll work it out if you get it wrong, but it's easier. And then you just put a big screwdriver down the middle there to open it up slightly, and this bit will pop out or out. And these grooves here are what needs some grease. Don't grease the inside, anything else, just these grooves here. Quick clean first. Then we'll grease here for shadow derailleurs. So this is for the clutch, Shimano grease. If you've not got this grease, just anything that's like a really light grease, free hub greases, something like that. Whatever you do, just get it on this outside piece, don't get it on the inside. Drop it back in there. Drop that back in the way you had it, like that. And this will just go back onto the derailleur. You need to jiggle it around a bit to get it to all line up. But it does go on pretty easily. Like that. And then just move the cage around, make sure it's seated properly. And that's it really, just put the cover back on. It doesn't need doing very often, probably, I don't know, once every couple of years really, but just when you start to feel it a bit notchy when you're pushing it like that by hand. If you even use the clutch, the amount of bikes come in and ask customers if they use a clutch, and they don't even know what it is or they've got one. If it's on a mountain bike like this and you're actually using it off-road, definitely use it. If it's on your sort of town bike and you're tootling around the canal paths, you don't need your clutch. It'll give you a slightly heavier shift on your lever, but your chain's not bouncing up and down as you're going down the side of a mountain, so you don't really need it. There is a adjustment on this one, but generally speaking, I've never found it necessary. You can adjust the tension of the clutch in there on that screw that you saw. But normally leave it as is. Right, that's on there, so if I put the clutch on now, it'll be easy to show you on the bike, but that's super smooth now. There's no notchiness in there at all. Still very tight as it should be. Take the clutch off. That's a traditional sort of derailleur spring there. So we'll get that back on the bike. Out. I might have some bolts for this. Let me have a quick look for you. We'll keep a selection of stainless nuts and bolts. Yeah, try and cover most scenarios. See what we've got. Something like this probably. Right, these will work. I'll just put some Loctite on them there. There you go. That's a bit shinier. I'll just change this one out. And just nip these up a bit more. These button heads you've got to be careful because they're pretty easy to round out. This Unior's brilliant for that though. It's a really good fit. Right, that's good. Drop the rear mech back on, put some grease on there. When you do fit it, really important, get this tab to sit above that tab there, you'll see that. If you're not careful and you screw it in there, you're going to bend something. So lift the derailleur while you put it in. Start screwing it in, drop it down, you'll hear it. It's basically stopping on that tab there, you can't go wrong. And then when you tighten it up, if you're not holding your derailleur and you tighten this fully, like that, watch what happens. So that's just lifted way off that tab there now. So don't do that. You need to hold the derailleur down like this while you're tightening that bolt to stop it doing that. And just tighten that up like that, and that stays on its stop. So be careful you do that. There's a lot of people do that, and you just tighten it and it just walks it all the way around the dropout, and you're just miles out. Just drop this cable in now anyway. I forgot to put the plastic screw back in the gear lever, didn't I? You didn't tell me. This goes in here. Very obvious on this one. I'll take it out and I'll show you, because there's always a groove where it sits. Like that. So if you take that out now, you'll see there's a groove that's actually manufactured, and that's exactly where that sits. And go around here, around there. It literally sits in there like that. So just be really careful, I keep telling you, because you just see so many that are wrong. And then just nip it up. We've got a barrel adjuster on the gear lever. I'm pretty confident that's going to work as it is. Let's go for one gear. That's easily going to shift on the sprocket, so we can just finally tighten this down. Like that, that's good. So we'll cut the cable and put an end cap on. I have a big selection of colours, so because it's a colourful frame, there might be something that would actually go on better than a silver. Far off, it's sort of greeny gold. Actually, there's a green one there. Actually, that's not bad, that green one. I'll put that on. Cut this. If you are fitting coloured ones like this, you need to use a Part Tool EP one, honest. That's not bad. Checking the list. We've half done the brakes, not done the sealant, not done the fork air, not done the dropper. I've got the chain ready, not done the bars, I've done a couple of rusty bolts, not done the grips. You know what I've done so far is the clutch. Well, keep going. Right, let's blast through the list, otherwise we'll be here all day. Let's chop these bars first. Gonna go for some speed editing. We're having new grips anyway, so they're coming off. There's some marks on the bar, that's that one there. Just before you chop that much off, make sure you've got enough flat bar to move these inboard as well, obviously, because your grip's going to be longer than that. There's loads of room on this bar there. Obviously you're increasing the length of your cables and hoses by doing that ever so slightly, but I don't think it's going to be massively noticeable, to be honest. It's a lot of work to trim all these. Let's just whip this off, just using a pipe cutter. Spin it around, tighten it up, repeat until it falls off. That's off. Deburr that, internal and external. Brilliant for that. Good. This dropper lever is fallen to pieces on the bottom, so I'll tighten this up, and then this is a separate bolt to move it in. I'll get some grips on. Genuine AliExpress ODI grips. Pretty much exactly the same as what came off. Right, just move this back to where you want to be. And about there. So I suspect this needs a new cable, but when we get it on the floor and some wheels, we'll give it a go. So that's bars chopped. Next, chop bars, done. Rusty bolts, let's do these. See if we've got anything for these. I've got some black ones, hopefully will be the right ones. So I've got some fresh black bolts for this, and they'll go straight in there. 5 Newton meters, do one at a time. Perfect, look at that, big difference. Tiny little thing, but it makes a big difference cosmetically. I don't know why I didn't put black ones on in the first place. Just nip that up, we'll talk them all in a minute. I've got a rubber cap I can put on this one. I sorted that one out, that was easy. Got these black ones, go straight in, perfect fit. That was easy, wasn't it? Again, we're going to torque this when it's on the floor, when the wheel's back in and everything's straight. So when you get bolts for stems, make sure they've got these integrated washers on them, like these here. It's the same as the old ones. I think these bolts again from AliExpress, cheap as chips, these things. You get titanium ones as well. Just get stocked up while you're ordering other stuff. Right, that's a massive improvement all around there. Good. Rusty bolts, chop bars, do the chain next. I'm going to go and check which way up these are, because looking at the writing, that's up. I just need to go and check, because I think these might be upside down, and I'll get shouted at if they are. 2 seconds. Upside down, sorry. One things you have to check every single time you do it, and you really should remember it. It's one of these. Just clean this back end up while I've got access to it, but it's actually pretty good. In fact, it's very good in comparison to some stuff I get in. Every time I get a dirty bike in, my God, comments, wow, people really get so wound up by it. It doesn't really bother me, to be perfectly honest, it really don't bother me. This linkage feels really good. If you get any side-to-side slop in there, then well, you've got issues, but this feels perfect. So we're not doing any suspension work on this service anyway, apart from just checking the air pressure on the shocks for the rider's weight. That's all we're doing on the suspension servicing, very separate costings. A lot of the stuff I just send away, to be honest. Things like rear shocks, I'll just send them away. Unless it's a basic air can service, obviously I'll do that, but anything that sort of involves nitrogen and stuff, I'm not doing them. I do, however, plan to get on a training course this year with Silverfish in the UK, which are Fox agents. They do training, so I'm going to set myself a staff training day one day this year. I'll see if I can maybe film a bit of it as well. So I do lower legs, I do air can services, but that's all I do as far as suspension goes. Good enough for who it's for, as they say. Who says that? Well, obviously not putting the wheel in yet, because this bleed block's still here. So just to put this chain on, I'm going to drop this through axle through, so we've got something to wrap it around. So Shimano chain, I tell you this every time, they are sided, so you'll see this one with the text on it. Hopefully you can see that in this light. Turn it over, it's just plain steel plates, there's no text stamped into that. So that's the inner side, this is the outside drive side. So I'll put it on that way. So there's no wheel, so we can just drop over the through axle, so we can get the chain on at least. So when you're threading the chain up, please make sure you go the right side of this. So many people get it wrong. I'll show you what wrong is. People do this through here, like that, and then it just rubs on there forever and ever and ever. And eventually it's just going to saw it in half and wear your chain out rapidly. And it's super noisy as well. You should know when you've done it wrong. Kind of still works, but it's just wrong. So it goes the other side of that, drop it over the top of it like that, and drop that down there. And then it should completely clear that plate. It doesn't touch it. And just clip that in. There's an arrow on here as well, but you've got to be doing something really wrong to get that wrong. Fanatic. If you don't need a tool for that and you've got a Shimano chain, you've got a fake chain, let me tell you. Ain't no way you're doing that without a tool on a genuine Shimano chain. I forgot to add wheel bearings to the list. Cycle Division, they're a trade account by the way, if you're wondering who they are. You can't open it up for the public unfortunately, but great stuff. Clarks and stuff like that, Schwalbe tyres. Brilliant prices for trade, honestly. Great guys as well, fantastic. Right, what are we doing? Air pressure. And then we're getting somewhere then. We'll do the sealant in the tyres. We're getting there. I've not forgotten it, it's going back in the shifter. Right, just before we pump these up, I want to take a quick minute to thank the video sponsor, sportandleisure.com. So when you're in the middle of a job, the last thing you want is progress to come to a grinding halt because the part you ordered that said it was in stock wasn't actually in stock. I've waited 4 weeks for something that said it was in stock before. Drives you mad. That's why I use Sport and Leisure. The UK-based company, their stock levels are live. The website says it's on the shelf. It really is on the shelf. Order before 3 PM and it ships the same day. Free delivery on all orders in the UK. Next day delivery is only £2.50, which is a no-brainer when you're trying to keep the work moving. So they've also updated the discount scheme for the channel. If you head to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan the QR code on screen now, it'll generate a page that's basically unique to yourself and automatically apply a 10% discount on the checkout for your first order. So if you're buying parts anyway, it's an easy saving. Links down below. Thanks again to sportandleisure.com for continuing to support this channel. It really is massively appreciated. Right, let's pump these forks up, or even let them down. So a lot of forks will have a chart on here that tells you basically what pressure to set these out. So the rider is around about 44 kilos, because he's only a young lad, so that's basically the first setting on here, which has got a mud guard over it. So let me just check what that actually says. Around about 120 psi, I think. Yeah, 120 on there. And for the rear shock, rock shocks are normally 1 psi per pound of body weight, so that works out around about 100 psi on here. So we'll check that one as well. So obviously we don't know who used this bike before. He might have been significantly heavier than that, so there may be too much air in these shocks. So we'll check. You don't need a swanky digital rock shocks pump either. Just a normal manual one is absolutely fine. Screw this in. We've got 80 psi in there, so we do need a bit actually adding into this one. I normally add 2 or 3 just before when you release that. There's a massive argument as to whether it actually drops the pressure or not, but allegedly it doesn't. But I'll normally find a 2 or 3 psi, it doesn't do any harm. When you release that, it'll drop it down to where you want it. But it's an endless debate as to whether it does or does not do that. So. Right, front one. Middle of January, and there's a massive fly buzzing around somewhere, which is unusual for the UK. I hope it's a fly anyway, not a wasp. So £120, it's around about 55 psi. You can change the range on this, but just need to let a little bit out on this one. But again, take into account when you take that off, so that's really not going to be far off at all there. Air pressure. Right, so we've got to do sealant, and we've also got to look at the wheel bearings in this back wheel, and then we're waiting for brake pads. And when we get back the wheels back in, we can do the dropper. Right, so back wheel, just get this cassette off and the rotor off first, and then we can have a look at the bearings. There's a Sunshine SZ cassette, one of the aftermarket sort of cheaper ones. Oh, it looks alright. Not very tight though, was it? Wow. Normally if I can do that on the bench without having to put my full body weight on it, then they're nowhere near tight enough. Right, so on these, this should just pull straight off like that. So on these Sun Ringley hubs, you need a special tool here basically to stop this spinning while you undo your cone spanner. It's extremely difficult to get that tool. In fact, I'm not even sure you can get it anymore. I don't have one, so you can just use your cone spanner across there. And all you're doing then is undoing these 17mm flats on this other side for the other end cap, and it should just come straight off then. All these special tools they invent that you don't really need. There's ways around most of them. Right, so that's the other end cap there. This free hub should just pull out now, like that. We'll service the free hub as well while it's here. Change these bearings, it's pretty easy. And this should just drive out now fairly easily. Just use a rubber mallet or put the end cap back on. Same. There you go. Get the other one out, you punch it out from the inside. If you've got these nice enduro punches, they're quite easy. Drop it through the other side, flip it over and punch that one out. There you go. 2 bearings. So the wheel bearings actually feel not too bad at all. However, these freehub ones, oh my god, that feels awful. Wow. Jeez. While you're in there, you may as well just do them all. It doesn't take very long. And they're fairly cheap. So let's get some new bearings for the wheel. 6903s. Just 2 for the wheel. Little circlip in here we need to take out first. Pull that circlip out, don't lose it. And again, these will just knock straight through. The anvil on the vise is ideal for this. There's a centre sleeve in this one, so you need to flick that sideways like that. And then you can get a punch in there easily. You just tap it out, spin it around, keep hitting different points. Otherwise you'll get it bound up. Takes that out, and that drops out of that spacer. We've got another one to take out here. Again, I can use the Enduro for that. Straight in there, and then just tap her out. There she is. This is better than a lot of free hubs because there's no step in here. Sometimes you've got that bearing down there, and then there's a big step in the side of there, and it's really difficult to line that bottom bearing in, but this is basically just slide it straight in there, so super easy. Right, 2 of these, I think they're the same. Yeah, they're not. 6902s for the free hub. Enduro bearings. And Kinetic. I'm going to do the actual VR pulls as well. Well, it's just stuck straight down the hub. Yeah, this is very, very sticky as well, so we'll clean these up. Just clean the hub up now, basically. Get ready for the new bearings. So a lot of wheels are very, very similar. technique for doing that. But I would always recommend you check the manufacturer's website or YouTube for specific instructions to your hub, because they can be very slightly different. There can be circlips you're not aware of, and if you start just battering it like that and there's a circlip in the way, you're going to break something. You can get this ratchet ring out if need be, but we don't need to on this one. Another special tool that I don't think I've got. So it's a good job it don't need to come out. I've got the DT ratchet ring tool, but I think this is different. Of course it's different, they're all different. Let me just clean this rubbish up and then get back to you. And again, we're just going to pop this out. There's a little spring holds all these in. That's in the right state this is. I'll just peel that spring out there and these will all fall out. Basically. There's a seal in here as well. And this will just have a good clean as well. Something like this is ideal for the ultrasonic really. I think I'll probably just run it through there. We've got the free hub back together now. I've just had about 10 customers in space of an hour, so got delayed. Right. Get some grease in here, this just helps get the new bearings in. That will all drop in there. Press that in. Alright, so we're just going to press these bearings straight into this free hub. Just line the first one up there. And this will drop into there. That into there, keeps it all central. And it's just a case of winding it in. You've struggled to fit this in straight without a press, unfortunately. Even then, they can be a bit of a challenge to get going. Well, that's not happy there, so stop. Find out why. Going in. So we'll get it started without that spacer because it's not quite straight. Well, that's stopped there. It's either at the bottom or we're bottomed out on here. Definitely not at the bottom yet. So we've got quite a bit further to go yet. So we'll use this spacer now. And that should just drop us in. That's it. So that's the first one in. Then we need to put the second one in, but you put this spacer in first as well. Again, a bit of grease on this, just on the inside. Drop that in. Make sure you get it straight. Get your second bearing there. And then just push her in again. And again, it'll just stop there. Just stop there. Don't carry on. That's that one in. And the spacer's in the right place. Now it's just a case of dropping the circlip in. So a circlip's normally got a sharp edge and a rounded edge. If you can tell the difference, a sharp edge will face outwards to lock itself in its groove. Probably doesn't make a lot of difference, but there you go. And that'll just drop into there like that. Make sure that's seated in. And hear it click. So that's the bearings in, so we just need to put the poles back in now. So a free hub grease, just a very light grease this is. You can use oil as well, free hub oil, or you can use grease. Oil tends to make them a bit noisier. So you just want grease in this piece here really, where the actual poles pivot. And that's pretty much it, and a very light coating on the outside for the actual ratchet ring. Doesn't need much. Then hook this in here. A little dot there shows you where it goes. Hook it in like that. Then just start to peel it around and drop your poles in one at a time. They only go one way. Like that, like that, and like that. And then we clip that spring all the way in. And that's it. That's that free hub serviced. And they will all be equally springy now when it's under load. Drop the seal back in. And just a little bit of grease on the outside of there like that. Now we'll get the wheel bearings in. Again, a bit of grease on here just to aid assembly. Especially where the bearings sit. The free hub bearings sit on this bit, don't forget. This bit does nothing. And again, in the hub, get some grease in the bearing seats. Don't get it all over this bit for the actual ratchet. Try not to. Just where the bearing sits. Again, use your press for that one. Press one side in, and then you have to put the axle in before you can put the other one in. That'll go in there. Drop your non-drive side bearing in there, and we're just going to press that in there. Exactly the same, basically. So I've just put those in and it wasn't right, so I've just cut the camera. I'll show you why it's not right. 6903s came out. These are 6903s. These are also 6903s. However, there are two different versions of 6903s. These are a 16.5, 17mm inner, and these are a millimetre bigger. So when you put that on, they don't fit the axle. You put these on, they're a perfect fit. So just be careful when you're buying 6903s. These are 698, 6903 1/8. They're a different internal size. So just be careful. I'm not sure how they ended up in the stock, but they're the wrong ones. So I'll do it again with the right ones this time. Oh, that's better. I'm scratching mid there. What's going on? Right, that should be in there, hopefully. Jesus. What's in there? Perfect. Took 20 minutes longer than it should have, but there you go. Right, free hub can go back in there, and that drops in there. And this end cap just screws on again. And just screw this on until it stops. Doesn't need to be crazy tight. Nip that up. That's freewheeling nicely. Like that. Beautiful. Oh, that feels so much better. You wouldn't believe. Wish you could do field vision, but wow, they're horrendous before. And then this end cap just literally pushes back on there. Like that. Job done. So put the rotor back on, put the cassette back on, and this can go back in the bike. So you can see a bit of a step there, but it's literally 0.5 of a millimetre. I have measured it. And I think once we get it set up properly, it'll quickly sort itself out on the new pads on the bedding in machine and be okay. Let's put these back in. Bit of Loctite on these again. Just going through some comments. Keep getting so many comments on older videos now, and someone's just like, clean the jockey wheels, dude. Oh, okay, mate, cheers. It makes you laugh though. I mean, there's like, you would not believe, there's like 10 hours work goes into one of these videos and editing, and that's the most constructive thing people can come up with. Like, okay, cheers, mate. Yeah, actually, if you look later on in that video, they were clean, so people jump on and comment before they watch the whole video and call me out for stuff, but if you actually watch the video, 9 times out of 10 I've done it all. Hey, that's the internet for you, isn't it? Took the rotor bolts up. Okay. Do it in the star pattern. Okay. Sorry. That's on. Grease the free hub, dude. Okay, mate. Done. I mean, he might not even speak like that. Might be a woman. Sorry. Fit the cassette, dude. Fit the cassette, dude. Okay. Cassette's on. Do this. Sorry, it's been a long day. 40 Newton meters, dude. That's 40, dude. Alright, one service the wheel. Beautiful. Alright, I can actually just throw this wheel in, really, can't I? Just don't touch the brake lever. So we'll get this in and go through the gears now. Some grease on this through axle now as well. Jesus. Our rotor's already rubbing on this caliper. That's how far out it is. That's insane. That's with no pads in it, it's rubbing on the caliper. Well, I can't really get a camera in there, but this rotor is actually rubbing on this bracket. With no pads in there, it's already rubbing on that. That's insane. That's that rotor rubbing on the caliper bracket with no pads in it. That's how far out centre this thing is. Absolutely miles out. Oh my god. Well, I'm just going to straighten that up briefly. By doing nothing else, that's already going to be better. We do need to take all this apart to get this spacing right because it's basically sitting too high, but sorted that out. Jesus. Anyway, how does XT work? So we'll drop it down to 11th. Just going to press the gear lever now to seat all these cable housings in. Keep pressing. Well, as far as you dare. You won't get to the top, but I go one gear. Right, that's nowhere near now. So all this slack's developed now because of... Yep. So it's nowhere near shifting now because of all this slack that's come from basically doing that with the lever. So just pull this through a bit. I'll just grab the tyre to stop it, and I forgot how knobbly they were. All that hurt. Right, just pull that through now. Like that. Nip this back up. That's why it's really important just to press that lever. Just keep pressing it as far as you dare. I've never broke one yet, but it just seats everything down and sort of pre-stretches the cable, if you want to say that. But it's pretty essential that you do that. Otherwise it'll work for the first sort of ride or two, then everything will settle down itself and you'll be back to square one. Right, let's see how that goes now. One gear now. Beautiful. Right, so we're straight up there pretty much. Push this derailleur now. I can't stop, that's because it's got no brakes. Slow it down. Right, go really, really slowly and then just push this really hard with your thumb. I can't push that into the spoke, so you just need to check that lower limit is okay. Right, see how that's clunking down on these? It basically just needs a little bit more tension to pull it up that way to slow that shift down. It's too clunky down there, so I'm just going to give this sort of probably one turn on here. We don't have one on the derailleur, so I'll try it again. I should probably hopefully quieten that down. That was me. Goes up lovely. Much better. Just to hear the slight tone of difference. It's slamming down because there's not quite enough cable tension, and now it's nice and quiet. Oh, they're pretty good actually. No brakes. They've been spinning for about 5 minutes now, I'm not lying. Nice bearings. Still going. Still going. Almost stopped. That's impressive. And stop. Wheel bearings done finally. They took a while because of customers and dodgy spares. Right, so we've got dropper, sealant, and we're still waiting for these pads. So we'll do the sealant, get the front wheel back in, then we can take it off the stand, check this dropper post, and then we'll just wait for the pads, throw them in, and get them aligned, and set that caliper where it should be because it's miles out. I'll check the front brake briefly as well, but that looks okay. Quick look at these front ones. I can see them from the front. They are evenly worn, this one. So the fronts are worn, but you don't have that massive step on it. So new pads in there, so the alignment is obviously good in that one. I'll just get this cleaned up, same as I did on the other one. I won't bother filming it. Actually, they're bloody miles out as well. So top to bottom alignment is obviously okay with those pads, but side to side you can see again this one's absolutely miles out. These pistons have been doing all the work. They've done virtually nothing, so I'll just repeat the same as I did on the back one, moving them out, cleaning them all up, and carry on. Right, so that's all cleaned up. I've checked these bearings. These are all beautiful. Like I said, it was the freeheld bearings that had actually gone on the back, not the wheel bearings. So drop this maxle in. These maxles are actually adjustable. So if you end up sort of getting it to there and that's the tight position, you can adjust the position that way. You pull it out. Some of them are different. I think this one pulls out. Let me just check. So you push that in and then it will locate into another slot. Basically, so you can adjust the finished position of this axle. So many that come in and the axle's sort of in its tight position sort of down here, and that's just the only position you can have it. You can adjust that. This one's okay where it is. It's basically tight there where it should be, flush with the fork leg. So that one's in. So I'm just going to centre this caliper again. I just wonder if this bike was Shimano equipped brakes previously and someone's DIY installed these brakes so badly, alignment wise. I mean, they actually, like I say, they do work, but the alignment is just absolutely shocking. Right, so that's centred there and there on the caliper itself. Again, I need pads on there. Right, that's ready for pads now. Why is the tyre bleeding? What the hell is that? You didn't see that, but a load of liquid just poured out of that valve. What is that? Good job, that's the next job. I mean, that's super loose for a tubeless valve. It shouldn't be like that. It's pouring out. Interesting. No, it's not brake fluid. Anyway, that's the next job, is to drop this down here, let it pool a bit, and then I'm going to dipstick it. I wonder if these have got inserts in. I'm going to dipstick it, see if there's any sealant in there. Take the valve core out first, obviously, and see if it needs topping up or not. But I don't know what that was that was pouring out there. It wasn't sealant. So I put a Velcro strap on there because the wheel kept spinning around, and I wanted the valve at the bottom. So I'm going to leave that overnight, let it pool, dipstick that, and the same on the back wheel. See if we need any sealant. Chuck these pads in, set them up, and we should be about there. Right, so I'll just take this off, take the valve out, and we'll see if we've got any sealant in there. These are set pretty firm at the moment. These feel like 40 or something crazy, so I think the lad's not really used it yet, so he'll find his own preference. Use a cable tie for this if you want. This sealant injector that I use comes with a dipstick there. A lot in there. Normally you'd want to see sort of 5-10 mil down here really, at least. This has been sat in this position overnight, so yeah, we're going to put some sealant in there for sure. Just going to inject this in straight through the valve. I'm putting about 80 in here, 80 mil. And it goes. That easy. Get your cloth ready because you're always going to spill a drop. Don't do this on your best carpet. You might get shouted at. So we've got a fresh valve core in here. I always change cores at the same time. It's just for the cost of them, it's minimal. Screw that in and pump it up. I'm going to put this to about 30, I think. Well, it's about 27, 28 in there. I'll leave it at that for now. Green valve cap to match, nice. Wipe down and then just spin that around, repeat on the front. Okay, brake pads. So I already know exactly what the problem is with this, and I think probably a lot of you guys will have already spotted it as well. So these CPS washes, basically cup and cone things, shouldn't be fitted to this caliper. So this is a guide caliper. The only Avid or SRAM ones that sort of pre-2014 as a general rule of thumb use these. This caliper shouldn't be using them. It should be bolted straight to this mount here. Take these out and that's obviously going to have the effect of dropping the caliper down and clearing the rotor. There is a bit of confusion about which brake uses these and which doesn't, but it's pretty easy to tell. So if this one and this one are offset by 5 millimeters, you don't need them. If they're level, you do need them. that's the general rule of thumb. There may be some exceptions along there, but if you look at SRAM's documentation on this, it's pretty extensive, and that's pretty much where you end up with. These don't need to be here, so I'll take these out. If you notice on the front caliper, it doesn't have them, and it was clear in the rotor, no problem. So just take these out. Need to check the length of these bolts as well, because they may be too long now. It's a Shimano spacer, so again, it kind of makes me think it was a Shimano equipped bike at some point. But looking at the catalogue online, I don't think it was. Who knows? Alright, so that's how much bolt we've got through there. That should be fine. So what I'll do is I'll screw them in. If I feel it getting extra tight all of a sudden, we're going to stop. And we'll potentially either cut these down or look for some other bolts. But I think these should be okay. It looks very, very nicely faced on here. There's no paint or anything, so that should be okay. So I'm going to get a dropper Loctite on this, and then put it back in. Like that. This is just a solid version of Loctite. It's very good. Well, not solid, semi-solid. Screw this back in, put some pads in, and I think you'll find that's an easy fix. Yeah, the bolt goes all the way through, so you're okay. Get that loosely lined up, and then we're going to just centre this on the actual rotor. So just get that centred so the rotor is in between the actual caliper slots there, and then you're not going to be far off when you put the pads in. So I'm going to swap to these low profile part tool ones when you've not got much clearance like this. But it just gives you the clearance to get in there, because otherwise it just fouls on the caliper. Alright, that's nicely centred there. So we're going for these epic organic pads on here. Drop these in, and then let's see how it looks. It should be pretty damn good, hopefully. It's lined up. I can already see that is absolutely perfect on that rotor. Fantastic. Drop this bolt back in there. The Shimano one, I would add anti-seize to this, but SRAM are pretty good. I've never had one seize yet. There's a little safety clip. Like that. Right, good. I'll try and show you what we're doing now. Basically, the rotor has got a full sweep of these pads. I can't really get the camera in there, to be fair, but I can see here it's doing exactly what it should do now. Perfect. See if it'll centre reasonably well. Pumping the lever to settle these pads onto that disc. Just keep pumping it until it goes as you want it. That feels very good. Pretty much perfect. If anything, the caliper wants to come this way a tiny bit. So the video I did the other week on the lightweight Hup bike, someone was asking if you could use these spacers to align it, and that's the reason that you can't really, because it'll affect the height of the caliper itself and give you issues on the pad like this one did. Right, that was quick, wasn't it? Job done. I'll get these bedded in on the machine as well, but we'll do that in a minute. Just going to chuck the pads in the front, make sure that's aligned, and then we're almost there. Just a quick look at this dropper post then. Right, that's perfect as well on the front. Right, let's get these bedded in, and then we can finally look at that dropper post and wrap this video up. Sorry, it's been a bit of a long one, but lots to show on this one. Actually, I'll just get this stem aligned first. It'll take 2 seconds. So with the laser, you literally just drop that onto the stem there, and then it lines up against the tyre, obviously, so you can get this exactly where you want it. Totally not essential, but hey, it's a gadget. Who don't like a gadget? Make sure we've got no play in this headset. Good. Quick look at this dropper while we're in the area. So this cable is extremely slack here. There is a barrel adjuster, but it's pretty much maxed out. So I'm going to screw that all the way in first. All that cable's doing nothing there basically. So first of all, I'm just going to undo this pinch bolt, pull this cable through, and see if that's all it needs. There's this little grub screw in here that holds this cable. Like that. Pull this cable through a bit. Like that. Tighten this back up, see if it drops. So without me pressing the lever, it's not going down. Press the lever, it goes down. Let go. It goes up. That feels good. That's doing exactly what it should. So we'll just get some silicone lubricant on this, and then that's that one done. So this is finish line silicone spray for basically suspension stanchions, droppers, forks, shocks. Don't spray it on the bike like that, because it's just going to go all over your brake. Spray it on your hand like that, and then I'm just going to massage that in. Basically, repeat on all the other bits of the suspension. So just spray it on your hands. Don't do that. Spray it off, way away from the bike. Just rub that into the stanchions. Check we are actually suspending. Beautiful, that feels so smooth. Wow. Very nice. Rear shock. Quite a slow rebound, we'll just speed up a little bit. Again, he's got to set all that himself once he actually gets using the bike. Massage that into the dropper. Nice. Right, brake pads to be bedded in, and I promise you we're done. 203 4-pot, so they're slightly different setting on this one. 203 4-pot brakes is position B, and we'll do the front brake first. Let's go. You've seen this before. Oh, they smell toasty. Right, good. Let's do the Chihuahua. Fantastic. Next, so the rear is a 180 normal 4-piston, so we are 180 regular 4-piston, program A rear wheel. So I'm just going to get a very quick spin there just to make sure this new chain isn't skipping on these smaller sprockets under heavy load. So I'll put my full body weight on there, which is double the, the actual rider's weight, and make sure that's okay, because if anything, when you put a new chain on, these smaller 203 potentially can skip under heavy load. A lot of manufacturers sell these as sort of service kits, the smallest 203 sprockets, because they wear out. These things go pretty much forever, so if you are checking it, just check it down here. Give me a second. Right, so test rider is all good, brakes are phenomenal, gears are working, no skipping under load. The only thing it is doing is rubbing ever so slightly on this train guard here. So I'm just going to pull this hollow tack out and move this over on its bracket, sort of 1 millimetre this way, just to clear that up. So that'll take 2 seconds. So we literally just want to get some spaces behind here, and that's it, because it's just rubbing a little bit. You could see that would be rather fiddly without taking that off. Get that back to where it was, which was there. You can see the clean mark. Loads of thread left in these bolts. Bit of grease in here. This bottom bracket feels beautiful. Drop this back in. That was easy. That looks a lot better. It's still a little bit noisy on the very largest sprockets, but there's no trim position on these things. And look at the flex in it. Not the best. On the gears that matter, she's silent. Shifting beautifully. Good. So quick final wipe down, and this one is done. Our brakes now, honestly, they're fantastic for SRAM. Honestly, they're actually really, really good. So if you've not seen the video I did on that bedding in machine, check it out. It is absolutely a game changer. Workshop used only because it's phenomenally expensive, but wow, it does an amazing job. And you should check the video out, you'll see why I don't just rely on going out on the roads and hoping for the best sort of thing. It really is awesome. So the rest of the bike's running lovely now, as you see. No real issues at all now, so fantastic for the young lad to get his teeth stuck into a bit of mountain biking on a serious bit of kit now. So I hope you did enjoy that. I hope you learned a few bits and pieces. I know there's quite a bit covered in this video. Some bits you've probably not seen before, hopefully. And if you did enjoy the content, if you've not already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really, really does help this channel grow. I've got some big plans for this year, and if you want to be part of those, then make sure you follow along and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.